Another single yarn cast on that's a very useful cast on to know is called the cable cast on. The cable cast on starts with its very first stitch, like a knit cast on. And you do one knit cast on. Okay, so then we have our one knit cast on. Now, instead of going into our stitch, we go between the stitches. Wrap the yarn around, pull out a new stitch, put that stitch on the needle. Go between the two stitches, wrap the yarn around, pull the stitch out, put it on the needle. Go between the two stitches, snug up the stitch. By snugging up the stitch now, because the yarn's traveling around the second needle, you'll never get the stitch too snug, which I think is a problem with a cable cast on. In fact, sometimes I want a cable cast on that's very snug, and then I intentionally snug that stitch up before I insert the needle between the two stitches. And then, of course, it's a little harder. So you see how the needle's coming between the two stitches, the stitches being pulled out, put on the needle's between the two stitches, pulled out, put on the needle is between the two stitches, gets pulled out, and put on the needle. Now, the difference with a cable cast on is the edging. The edging is looks like a cable weaving, or the kind of twist you get in a rope cable. A cable as in the kind of rope you tie a boat up. As a non-sailor, I know that ship ropes are not called ropes, they're called cables. But it does give a cable edge. It gives you an edge similar to a complex woven rope. One of the advantages of cable cast on is, of course, you can bring the yarn to the front, stick the needle between the first two stitches, pull it back out to the back, put it on the needle, come from the back to the front, pull the stitch out, put it on the needle, come from the back. I think that this cast on is less useful for ribbing, but it obviously can be done. Well, can be done by people who've practiced at it. There I go. 3 times I've missed it. Pull the stitch out, put the stitch on the needle from behind, wrap it round, pull it out. So the cable cast on is another cast on that can be done as a knit cast on, or as a purl cast on, or it can be done as both knits and purls alternately. So there's another cast on that can be done with a single yarn, and it's another single yarn cast on that's useful to know. You can count the knit cast on as 1, the purl cast on as 2, the alternate knit and purl as 3, the cable cast on as 4, the purl cast on for purl cable as 5, and the alternate knit and purl cable as 6. Or you can simply say there's 2 cast-ons, the knit cast-on and the cable cast-on. It really doesn't matter how you count. What's nice to know is that there are alternate ways to do this basic cast-on.